Top 10 Fascinating Facts About Rock Art. Explore the mysteries of prehistoric rock art, from natural pigments to the creation of lunar calendars. Are they mere drawings or complex messages from ancient civilizations? Discover how these ancient artists documented their world and what secrets we can still learn from them in our exciting video. Number 10. Persistence through the millennia. Rock art, primarily manifested in paintings and engravings on cave and rock surfaces, represents not only one of the earliest forms of artistic expression but also one of the most enduring. These creations have withstood the relentless passage of time, remaining in many cases surprisingly intact despite climatic and environmental adversities over millennia. For instance, the paintings in El Castillo Cave in Spain, dating back over 40,000 years, are among the oldest evidence of human symbolic and creative thinking. The persistence of these works over so many millennia speaks not only of the techniques used and materials chosen but also of the strategic location and environmental conditions within the caves, which often helped preserve these artistic treasures. The stable environment of the caves protected the works from water, direct sunlight, and extreme temperature changes, factors that in other conditions would have accelerated the degradation of the paintings and engravings. This phenomenon has allowed archaeologists and scientists to study not only the artistic techniques employed but also to gain deep insights into the cultures and societies that created these works. Through these paintings, it is possible to explore aspects of daily life, spiritual beliefs, and the evolution of human thought from its earliest forms of symbolic expression. Number 9. Natural colors. The use of colors in prehistoric rock art shows a sophisticated understanding of the natural resources available. Prehistoric artists created color palettes from materials easily accessible in their environment, such as ground minerals, oxides, and charcoal, extracting pigments from rocks, soils, and plants. These colors covered not only the basic blacks and reds but also subtler shades like ochres and yellows, achieved by mixing different materials with binders such as animal fat, blood, and water. These natural pigments, often applied directly to the rock, demonstrated remarkable durability. In some cases, the choice of materials and their processing involved detailed knowledge of the chemistry of pigments and their interaction with the rock surface and other components of the mixture. This ability to manipulate and preserve color reveals not only a high level of artistic skill but also a practical understanding of the environment and the chemistry of natural materials. The application of these colors also varied. Some were applied with fingers, others with rudimentary brushes made from branches or animal hairs, and some were blown onto the rock, using reeds or hollow bones as primitive airbrushes. This method allowed artists to create shading and gradation effects that added depth and realism to their images, techniques that significantly expanded the expressive possibilities of rock art. Number 8. Strategic locations. Rock art is not randomly distributed across the landscape but is concentrated in specific places that likely held particular meaning for prehistoric communities. These locations not only offered suitable surfaces for painting or engraving but are also believed to have held spiritual or practical importance. The caves and rock walls selected for rock art often lie in areas that might have served as important meeting points, migration routes, or sacred sites for rituals and ceremonies. Some researchers suggest that the choice of these locations might have been influenced by the acoustics of the caves, which amplified sounds and could have been used during rituals. Other theories propose that unique geological features, such as rock formations resembling figures or animals, might have inspired prehistoric artists to select these sites as canvases for their works. This indicates a level of planning and consideration of the environment that goes beyond the simple search for a blank space to paint. Moreover, art in strategic locations might have played a role in demarcating territories or signaling important routes. By placing art in specific places, prehistoric communities could have communicated information about resources, territories, or legends to other groups, thereby facilitating navigation and mutual understanding among diverse populations that might not share a common language. Number 7. Advanced techniques. The methods used by prehistoric artists to create rock art reveal a high degree of ingenuity and technical skill. While it is common to imagine these artists working exclusively with their hands, they actually employed a variety of sophisticated tools and techniques. For example, brushes made from animal hairs were common and allowed artists to apply pigment precisely for fine details, such as in the textures of animal fur or in the facial expressions of human figures. Another notable technique is the blowing of pigments through tubes, likely made from bones or reeds. This method allowed artists to create an airbrush effect, especially visible in the representations of hands, where paint was applied around the hand placed against the rock, leaving a negative image on the rocky panel. This technique not only shows an advanced understanding of how to handle materials but also a capability to experiment with visual effects that increased the dramatic impact of the images. Additionally, some prehistoric artists used engraving or chiseling techniques on the rock, creating lines and contours that could be filled with color or left as monochrome engravings. This method requires precise control and significant strength, indicating that those who practiced it had both the physical prowess and the artistic vision necessary to execute complex designs, underscoring the sophistication of creative and technical thinking during that historical period. Number 6. Representation of fauna. Rock art is renowned for its vivid representations of local fauna, ranging from bison and horses to woolly mammoths and deer. These images are not mere stylized depictions. They exhibit a high degree of realism and attention to detail, suggesting that prehistoric artists spent considerable time observing these animals in their natural environment. Such a level of detail in postures, proportions, and movement indicates a deep knowledge and close connection with these species, possibly reflecting their importance in the economy and culture of the time. In addition to serving as a record of prehistoric biodiversity, these representations could also have played a role in hunting rituals or in the transmission of knowledge about animal behaviors. Some scholars propose that certain images might have functioned as part of magical religious practices, where capturing the image of an animal was seen as a way to dominate its spirit or ensure success in hunting. This type of art also offers clues about the migration and changes in the habitats of these animals over the years. For example, the presence of images of woolly mammoths in regions where it is unthinkable to find such creatures today speaks to the climatic and geographical changes that have occurred since then. The inclusion of these details not only provides an invaluable resource for scientists today but also illustrates the ability of prehistoric artists to observe and document the world around them with great accuracy. Number 5. Hidden messages. Prehistoric rock art goes beyond mere visual representation. It often incorporates elements that might be interpreted as early forms of narrative or symbols with specific meanings. The paintings and engravings in caves contain patterns, signs, and symbols whose exact meaning is a matter of debate among archaeologists and anthropologists. This possible encoding of messages suggests that prehistoric artists might have used their art to communicate complex ideas, tell stories, or convey esoteric knowledge to selected members of their community. These hidden messages might have included star maps, indications of migration routes, or records of significant events. Some researchers have proposed that certain abstract figures could act as markers for astronomical phenomena or seasonal changes that were critical for planning activities such as hunting and gathering. Additionally, the repetition of certain symbols in different places may indicate a shared belief system or a social structure common to various communities spread geographically. The complexity of these messages, combined with the technical skill required to create the images, suggests that the artists and their patrons could have formed a cultural elite within their societies. These individuals not only had the technical knowledge to produce the art but also possessed the cultural information necessary to understand and convey these coded messages, playing a crucial role in the preservation and transmission of knowledge and cultural traditions. Number 4. Global distribution. The presence of rock art on nearly all continents, except Antarctica, demonstrates that artistic expression and communication through art were global practices among prehistoric societies. This phenomenon suggests that, regardless of their geographical isolation or cultural differences, humans shared an innate need to express themselves and document their reality. From the caves of Altamira in Spain to the painted rocks of Uber in Australia, through the petroglyphs of Africa and America, rock art serves as a visual link between cultures that might otherwise be considered completely different. Each region presents unique styles and themes that reflect its respective environments and cultures, but all share similar techniques and the inclination to represent both everyday life and spiritual and mythical elements. This not only shows the universality of the human creative impulse but also provides researchers with clues about migration routes and exchanges between ancient populations. Studying these works in a global context allows for a better understanding of how humans interpreted the world around them and how these interpretations varied and coincided across great distances. The distribution of rock art also underscores the adaptability and resilience of prehistoric artistic practices. Although separated by vast oceans and continents, ancient peoples developed surprisingly similar ways of using art to record and elevate their experiences, beliefs, and knowledge. This global legacy of rock art not only connects us with our most remote ancestors but also offers a deep insight into the human capacity for creativity and communication across the barriers of time and space. Number 3. Diversity of representations. Rock art encompasses much more than the typical images of animals and hunters. It includes a wide range of representations from human figures engaged in various activities to abstract designs and symbols possibly loaded with spiritual or practical significance. Additionally, some paintings and engravings suggest attempts to map local geographic features or even represent constellations, indicating an effort to understand and document both the terrestrial and celestial environment. This diversity in representation suggests that prehistoric communities used rock art not only as a form of artistic or spiritual record but also as a medium to process and transmit complex information, from the location of water resources to aspects of their cosmology. Human figures, for example, often appear in scenes that could be interpreted as rituals or community activities, providing insights into the social structure and cultural priorities of their creators. The fact that these representations are found in inaccessible or hidden places further suggests that some of these sites might have had specific purposes, such as initiations or ceremonies restricted to certain community members. This aspect of rock art underscores its role not only as a cultural artifact but as an integral part of the social and spiritual life of prehistoric populations, serving as a canvas for the expression of collective identities, beliefs, and knowledge. Number 2. Educational and social function. Prehistoric rock art played a crucial role beyond mere decoration or religious expression. It was a fundamental educational and social tool in ancient communities. These paintings and engravings not only served to transmit practical knowledge such as hunting techniques or the location of resources but also to reinforce and perpetuate the norms and cultural traditions of a group. The frequent representation of hunting scenes, for example, not only instructed on hunting strategies but also inculcated values such as bravery, skill, and cooperation, essential for the survival and cohesion of the group. In many cultures, rock art also functioned as a historical record or a medium to tell the community's story, conveying legends and heroic deeds that strengthened the sense of identity and continuity among generations. These visual narratives allowed community members, especially the young, to learn about their heritage and understand their place within the broader narrative of their people. Additionally, the act of creating rock art might have been a community activity that strengthened social bonds and fostered collaboration. The process of selecting the location, preparing the pigments, and planning the images likely required a joint effort, reinforcing cooperation and group cohesion. This social dimension of rock art underscores its importance not only as an artistic expression but as a fundamental pillar of the social and cultural structure of prehistoric communities. Number 1. The first astronomical calendar. The Lascaux cave in France is not only famous for its impressive rock art, it is also believed to house one of the earliest known attempts by humans to measure and record time through a lunar calendar. This sophistication in time recording suggests an advanced level of astronomical observation and an understanding of celestial cycles that were critical for the agricultural and ritual planning of prehistoric communities. The representations in Lascaux include groupings of points and animal figures that some researchers interpret as stellar symbols or lunar marks, indicating moon phases or even eclipses. The implication of a calendar in these paintings is not just a showcase of art, it is a testament to the development of abstract and scientific thinking. This ability to conceptualize and record phenomena not directly linked to immediate survival, such as time and astronomical cycles, marks a significant milestone in human cognitive evolution. By correlating seasonal changes with lunar cycles, the ancients could anticipate weather events and plan agricultural and ritual activities, thus optimizing their adaptation to the environment. This use of rock art to mark and predict astronomical phenomena also suggests that these early societies recognized the importance of periodicity and regularity in their surroundings. The recognition of patterns in the night sky and their application to daily life illustrates an integration of knowledge, art, and science, offering a glimpse into the human capacity for observation and innovation long before the invention of writing and complex numerical systems.